And we are live. This is Live with Sondra, your host of today's show, CEO of Gatemaster Technology, Gatemaster sponsored show. And I have a special guest for you today. I know that I left you in suspense there. We're a little late getting started this morning, but that's because what we've got planned today is super special and something we haven't talked about on this show. The session today, we're going to be talking about robotic vending machines in family entertainment, if that doesn't sound awesome. And my guest today is somebody that I consider to be an innovator in the attraction space and also someone that I consider to be a friend. I enjoy talking to this person. I think that you're going to enjoy the conversation that we have today. So let me give you this introduction of who, if you don't know already, you're going to be meeting today. Malik Suban is a seasoned leader in the amusement industry, and he's currently the Chief Marketing Officer for Sweet Robot, leading their branding and strategic partnerships. He's also one of the founders of Galaxy VR, operating in successful family entertainment centers. He's previously the COO of VR 360 Action, where he led product development and strategic partnerships, and as VP of Marketing of Effortless, he transformed it into a multi-million-dollar fintech enterprise. I like the sound of that. And Malik's creativity in the industry expertise drives success in every venture that he touches. I'm super excited to bring him on the show today. Like I said, this is somebody that I consider to be a friend. I just saw him at the IAPA event at Epcot, the meetup that we did there. And yeah, I don't know why we didn't use the pictures of the two of us to promote this event today. But without further ado, let's bring Malik to the stage. Malik, thank you, my friend, for joining me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here with you on your show. I feel honored, humbled, and I think it was long due.
Yes, I agree. We had to track you down a little bit, but no, I appreciate you being here today. And when I hope my introduction was okay. If there's anything you want to add so our audience knows who you are and what you are, please feel free to add to that.
I think you did a better job on introducing me than I could ever do.
Oh, well, and I will say this. I meant what I said. I do see you as one of our industry's innovators. So if
Thank you.
you don't know Malik, you need to visit him at IAPA. You're going to be exhibiting at IAPA, yes?
Yes, I will be.
Yes. And that actually brings me to kind of my first question for you, if you're okay jumping right in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, so robotic vending machines
Mhm.
in attractions. And, I think some of us, maybe if you can explain a little bit about what that looks like. And I think some of us have maybe seen some of these things starting to show up in like airports. I know I kind of had I bought a salad out of a vending machine at an airport a couple months ago. I don't know if that's per se what we're talking about here, but would you mind telling the audience, what are we talking about when we're talking robotic vending
Mhm.
machines?
So, vending has been a very old concept. Like everybody knows vending machines, they haven't used them or seen them. When it comes to robotic vending machine, it's just a notch up. What happens is instead of doing regular vending, now you could do something exciting, something unique. It gets into the novelty realm of vending, basically. So you have seen the salad vending machine.
Yeah.
I would consider it as a regular vending machine, unless it made the salad right then and there. If
No,
it
the salad was prepackaged.
so it's a regular vending machine
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
So when it comes to robotic vending machine, it's something that the machine can actually do in front of you and then vend the product out. For example, you might have seen those cotton candy machines out there, like the Robo arm will pick up a stick, make a cotton candy, and vend it out to the kids or whoever is buying at the FECs or airports, resorts, wherever you might have seen that. When it comes to Street Robo and then robotic vending, we just have a huge and wide range of products that we constantly develop. We make them better. We keep coming up with new unique ideas. I might be able to give you some sneak peek into the future products. I just want to keep the suspense, and I would love to announce them at IAPA. But we do robotic cotton candy machine. We have Robo ice cream machine. We have a marshmallow vending machine. We call it marshmallow spaceship. We have a lollipop vending machine. We call it Mr. Pop. And soon we will be coming out with. I shouldn't say it, but since you're a dear friend to me, I will give you this news that at IAPA we would also be coming out with a candy monster.
A candy monster. You guys heard it first on my show. I feel honored.
Nobody knows it yet, but we will be coming up with a candy monster. You could basically draw from six different types of candies, mix and match, make a ball, and take it with you. And
That's
it would
awesome.
and would be cute looking monster candies. It won't be your regular candies. They'll be like beautiful monsters. I don't want to give them a name yet, but something similar to Ghostbusters. Those cute ones. And you could pick and choose which ones you like, which one you don't like, and then yes, hey, for $5, $10, there's your ball of candy.
That's awesome. Well, you brought up Gatemaster, or Ghostbusters. Did you know that that's actually what we named our company after?
No.
Yeah, our founder was a super fan of Ghostbusters. So the key master and the gatekeeper.
Hmm.
That's how we ended up with Gatemaster. He loved it.
How did I miss it? I'm just surprised.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. I laugh all the time and I tease him because I'm like, of all the things, I mean, he's a big fan, um,
Yeah.
and still is, and it's a great franchise too. So that's really
Mhm.
wonderful. That like, what is that? Slimer, isn't that his name?
Yeah.
The cute ghost. So I could totally see a candy monster.
Oh, it's I can't disclose more than I already have, but maybe after this podcast, I will send you some sneak peeks, and you could see what it might look like.
Oh, I would love to see that. Well, while we're talking about these robotic vending machines, I'm curious, how do you see that there is, how do you see the operations of family entertainment centers and what unique advantages do they offer in the attraction industry?
Look, any entertainment center, big or large, it's all about, like it says in the name, entertainment. Families come together. Um, Teenagers, for them, it's hey, let's spend some time over there. Let's play some games. For somebody, it's a unique date idea that they have in mind. They're trying to go to these places to have fun. Robotic vending brings out that kind of fun for these people. For example, how cool it is that you could make your own cotton candy, and then you could see it while it makes it, and then you could choose your sprinkles that go on top of the cotton candy, and then the robot vends it out. It's just a cute little experience that you can have if you were just buying off the shelf cotton candy. You might have seen those cotton candy boxes. I mean, it's okay, it's cool, it's fun, it's sweet. You might buy it for like $5, $10, but how cool is it that you are choosing the colors of the cotton candy, and then you choose the design that it should look like, and then when it comes out, either you eat it yourself or you share it with your loved ones, you're sharing it with your kid, with your spouse, with your date, and it's like something you never saw before.
Yeah,
So,
and what I think is interesting about what you're talking about is this robot creates an entirely new experience when
mhm,
choosing candy. Like
yeah,
everybody, my even my kids, even as old as they are,
mhm,
I have older kids, teenagers, but they still love to go and pick out their candy, right?
yeah,
Whenever we go to Elitch's, which is our local theme park, they've got all sorts of candy stocked up. They don't have one of these. So if they're
mhm,
listening, I hope that they contact you because this sounds like so much fun. But I understand that, from what you're saying, the robot is creating an additional
mhm,
experience.
yes,
Where you get to choose the toppings, you
mhm,
get to choose maybe even the colors in some cases.
yes.
And yeah, it's very an interesting concept to me. How do you see robotic vending machines improving guest satisfaction. I mean, we are talking about the experience that it's giving people, but with regards to the operations of attraction businesses, you know, do you see any, is there anything you can share with us with regards to guest satisfaction, how that interaction is?
Absolutely. So when I look at these kind of machines, say two of my top sellers, the cotton candy machine and Robo ice cream. Every time I talk to an operator, I'm not talking about the customer. Anytime I talk to an operator, I explain to them this is a mini kitchen that you're buying from me. You would have
Yeah.
to maintain it from time to time. Again, it does not require a lot of maintenance, but since it's food and it's fresh, it does require some additional steps to make sure that the machine is running smooth. Once in a while, you might have to do the deep clean. Every other day, you might have to do a simple wipe down. But those small things would not only enhance users experience when they see those products coming out from a machine that is, it's beautiful looking, and also it's very clean and it doesn't break down as often. It's a bit, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit, but I think it's important we go back a few years ago when these kind of concepts first came out. Obviously, Sweet Robo being one of the pioneers in this industry. The products were not perfect, just like any other industry or any other venture. We had to do
Sure.
a lot of going back to the drawing board. We initially were like, okay, shit, how do we really deal with this cleaning process? And a unique idea came from one of our operators. It's so cool. Like, I love this industry because so unique about this industry. And I have worked in other, like you mentioned in my intro, this industry, everybody comes together. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
share feedback. And that feedback is not necessarily negative feedback. One day I might come to Sondra and be like, Sondra, this, I was using Gatemaster and I figured, how cool would it be if I had this added feature? And I know for a fact Sandra is not going to turn me down. It's like, you know what, Malik, let me go back to my team. Let me figure it out if this is feasible, if this is doable. And I might be able to share this with my other customers. So we had a customer, one of our largest operators, and we had a meeting with him in our office. He's like, listen, I want to buy more product from you. I love this cotton candy machine. And I also want to share with you how I brought down my deep clean time from 20 minutes to 7.5. I'm like, that is magical. Please tell me. Because my other customers could use that too. So it's like, instead of using a wipe, what he did is he used a steam gun.
Oh,
So he is like, listen, you cannot just roll it out to every customer. You have to learn from me first what I did. He came from steam, I don't know what exactly should I say, steam wash kind of background. And he's like, you need to understand your humidity levels, where the machine is at, the temperature levels. And then you need to adjust the steam level, the temperature level of the gun before you start using it. But I was like, how cool is it? One of my customers is teaching me how to clean my machines. So
yeah.
one way it could have gone is, you know what? Don't do that. Do exactly what I say. And then the other way is, you know what? Teach me how you did it. Let me see if it works. And it certainly did. And I'm like, okay, shit. Now it becomes the SOP for everybody else. If you want to bring your time for the deep clean from 20 minutes to 7.5, this is what you should do. So this is what this industry is about. And I think that's where this whole cool concept of robotic vending came out, and then it started to evolve into better and cooler looking items with less and less maintenance every single day.
Well, I think what you're saying, and I 100% agree, is the collaboration that
Hmm.
we have with our attraction partners as vendors, right? You
Hmm.
know, I what you said about Gatemaster hearing the feedback and learning from our customers, just like you said, is critical, I think, in the longevity of products, but also in the innovation of products.
Yeah.
This is why I consider you an innovator in this space, because if we're not listening to the attractions, we're not innovating in the direction that they need us to go. Collaboration is so huge in this industry. I love it for that. I love this industry for that very reason. I think that our 31 years longevity really is a I'm trying to think of the right word, a reflection
Mhm.
of the collaborations that we have had with so many parks over the years.
Yeah, you know what? Like since I know you on a deeper level, and I know we talk about a lot of things every time we meet, every time we're on the phone, we discuss so many different things, and it's cool to be on this podcast, and it's an even amazing experience to share those things. I, how I look at Gatemaster and also Sweet Robo is, let's just say Apple or Samsung, but then there are companies that were Nokia of the world. Nokia was the company when you wanted to buy a cell phone. I don't know, like if anybody
Yeah.
who is
I
who,
had a Nokia. My dog ate my Nokia.
so anybody who is like 15, 16 years old, you might not know what Nokia is. But Sondra and I, we certainly know what Nokia was and what it stood for, connecting people. And it was the giant. Like Apple was not Apple when Nokia was Nokia. And
Yeah.
Samsung was not Samsung when Nokia was Nokia. However, one day they were like, okay, you know what? We think we know everything. We don't want to get away from Symbiote to Android or to iOS or come up with something that could be used across board. Gatemaster in the last 31 years, you guys were not Nokia. You guys certainly became the apples of the industry. You listen to your customers. You wanted to make sure everything is easy to use, but it's also great quality and backed by great support. And same thing happened on our side of the business too. We came up with cool ideas, but then we started listening to people. We were like, okay, it makes sense. What you're looking for was not in my head, but this thought can take me to my next product. Even though I said that was the only news I wanted to share about the Candy Monster, I cannot announce the name or share the pictures or videos of the product. One of the products that is coming out is actually a concept that came originated from a customer. And while I was discussing something else with a friend, now became a client at an IAPA meeting. So he's like,
Oh
Malik,
wow.
and he's like, Malik, I'm in this industry. I pay so much rent. I have this labor cost, but I see you do robotic vending. How cool would it be if you could do something for me that would not only reduce my cost for the build up, the setup, but also my operations cost would go lower, even though I would be making less money than having a 20 by 20 space inside a mall. But obviously, given all of the other numbers going down, this certainly makes sense. So I'm like, let me think about it. So I spoke with my team. I spoke with my CEO, my R&D team, and it came out that we could do it, and we are. So maybe in the next 6 months, you have a new product coming out. If you today mark the date, in that time, if you see a product coming out, it's the product that the idea originated from a client.
I love that. And I love that you're listening to what the attractions operators have to
Mhm.
say. I didn't plan to talk about the necessarily the financial aspects of this, but you
Mhm.
brought up something that's interesting to me, which is the labor costs, right? I'm
Mhm.
sure something like this does offset some of that. And in fact, I was just at the IAPA Public Affairs Conference a few weeks back. We sat
Yeah.
in on some of the discussions that they were having about some of the challenges that many attractions face with staffing right now.
Mhm.
It's just a reality that
Yeah.
there are no people to fill these spaces. While we were there, we were also advocating for things like the J1 program so that we can bring students in to help, especially with those seasonally operated businesses. But what's interesting to me is something like this, other than the cleaning and the maintenance and the things that you would have to do to make sure that it was functioning properly so that it could provide the experience for the guest, are there benefits on the staffing side? I mean, it's unmanned otherwise, right?
So before I answer this question, we need to understand what unmanned means in this industry, but because
Sure.
it could
I
go
love
two ways. Um, when I was in the VR industry, I still am to some extent. I haven't detached myself. Uh, we came up with VR arcade games and we call them unattended. So to us, from the development side, unattended meant I have a machine that could be there, and somebody once in a while takes care of it. To the operator or to the facility owner, it meant somebody doesn't have to deal with this every day, or even
Yeah.
once a day, or twice a day max. They thought that it would be just like any other arcade unit, that they have to switch it on and switch it off end of the day. VR is more sensitive than that. It has more moving pieces to it, and we learned it the hard way. I know, not just the VR 360 Action, any other company who was and still is manufacturing virtual reality arcade games, they had to go through that struggle phase. They
Yeah.
had to wrap their head around how could I make this machine less and less maintenance needing, and how could it use less and less labor from the manpower that the FEC has. Same analogy goes to robotic vending machine. Unmanned does not mean that you don't have to clean it. Unmanned does
Right.
not mean that you would not need to fix it once in a while. Unmanned means it would not need as much staff or your labor hours as any other thing would. So if you put the cotton candy machine, end of the day, if you do a 5 minute wipe down, to me that's unattended. Or to most people that might mean that's partially unattended. But it's, if you have a live kitchen, guess how many hours of manpower you need?
Yes.
How many hours of cotton candy production you would need if somebody was doing it for you, versus 5 minutes cleaning in 24 hours? It's nothing.
Right.
So that's what we mean unattended robotic vending machine. Same thing with the ice cream mix. You do have to do the refill. It won't just make ice cream out of thin air. So
Right.
it might take you 5 minutes, it might take you 2 minutes, but it does require you to understand this is not a soda vending. It is certainly a novelty vending machine, and it could generate more revenue. And like you said, now going back to the question that you originally asked before I start getting into more things. Listen, me personally, I love labor cost. I think it puts food on the table. Uh,
100%.
so I'm not against it. I love it. However, there are certain things that do not require you to use those labor costs toward a certain thing. Like we just mentioned about robotic vending, it's a live kitchen on a much smaller scale, but in a novelty with a novelty menu. And if you do not need that person to take care of this machine, they could certainly do 10 other things they might not otherwise. So if you ever thought about hiring somebody to make a cotton candy machine, and you actually did, and then you brought this machine over, or two of these, or three of these, I don't know, like how many you like, or how many you got space for, and now you could use them maybe to make sure they could offer a better and more personalized use customer experience. How cool would
Yes.
that be? That's where added value is for your end user. And I think the next time they will come back is not because of that cotton candy machine that I gave you, is because of that added value that they receive from your staff that they wouldn't otherwise. I hope this
Well, I
answers.
can, if I might add to that, I can speak because to this because when I started in QZAR in the late 90s.
Hmm.
And we didn't have a lot of the tools we have today in terms of innovation. And I certainly loved going and pulling all of my cash out of the vending machine.
Yes.
So I want our audience to know we recognize that that is a real possibility. For you still, except for now, I mean, it's going to be deposited in your bank because I'm sure a lot of these are hooked up to merchant processing and are credit card
Yes.
ready.
Hmm.
Some of them even Bitcoin ready, which is a whole other
Oh,
conversation.
yes.
But what I think is interesting about what you're saying is, back then when we would do birthday parties, we had an option of someone renting bringing in a cotton candy machine for the guests.
Hmm.
That then took two staff members, right? Because we had the party host and now you had the person doing the cotton candy machine. And what I think you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that if that person is not stuck with the cotton candy machine. They are off taking care of the guest
Oh yeah.
and adding value to the experience that they're having when they're visiting your attraction or your family entertainment center. And I see the value in that for sure. And I'm sure anyone watching here that is an operator or owner of an attraction sees the value in that as well. Because what I see happening with innovation is not so much that we're replacing jobs, and we're taking a really interesting turn with this conversation, but not so much that we're replacing jobs, but I think we're replacing tasks that would otherwise take away from the guest experience, in my opinion. Right now, you're free to be with the guest,
Oh
you're
yeah.
free to direct them to where they need to go next, or
Hmm.
what needs to happen, or to start the birthday song for the birthday party guest, right?
Yes, I think you just hit the nail on point. You know, it's so cool and it's so unique what we are doing right now. It's more like if you go 10 years back, you and I, it's the same concept of being on a TV show. But for a TV show, you would need a crew to help you with it. You would need a camera person. You would need somebody who is giving you all of the notes, who's feeding you some key pointers uh, in your ear. If you might need 10 people. Look at you and me, like we're doing it on our own. It does
Yeah,
not mean that it took those jobs away. It means something new evolved, something new came up, and that something new is creating new kinds of jobs for people that never existed 15 years ago or even 5 years ago. So same thing with the entertainment centers, and it goes beyond entertainment center. With the Suite Robo, we deal with a lot of FECs, resorts, theme parks, casinos, hotels, restaurants, coffee shops, and it's such a cool idea that I put one of my cotton candy machines or my Robo ice cream machine at a gas station. The gas station is still doing all of whatever they do every day. And then there is a machine that is vending out soft serve ice cream without requiring anybody else to help. So it takes 30 seconds and it's a beautiful, delicious cup of ice cream that you can have for $5, $10, whatever the operator charges. Now, it's just added value for that facility. It does
yeah,
not mean that it took away a job or it took away more any labor cost and added to this specific machine. It's just, hey, A, I could add value without changing anything on the other side. B, I could reduce your existing labor cost, add value, and C, you could use that labor, put it somewhere else where you really need it or you might need it. You know, those people are creative people who work at FECs or anybody in the entertainment industry. You never know where your next idea comes from. It could be somebody who is working the front desk. It could be somebody who's back in the kitchen. It could be somebody who is manning those rides, or it could be somebody who is managing your ticketing system.
yeah. Oh, I think I love everything that you're saying here. I think that's an interesting conversation that's happening in our space is,
Hmm.
especially this idea that, yeah, automation, robotics, and all of these things are going to be replacing jobs, but in my opinion, we're replacing tasks that
Yes.
are with, tasks that a robot can do so that we can focus on the more important tasks in our
Yeah.
industry. And I don't know that my microphone sure loves my hair today. It's got in it. Um, you did share with us an example of like a collaboration that you had with a FEC in helping you better your product, and I love that example that you gave us. But I'm also curious if you can share a moment where creativity or resilience of your team led to a major success of your product.
Hmm. Well, I love that question. It's a loaded question, by the way. I will give you that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to finish off strong.
To most people, it might be a very simple question, but I understand, like, understand being in this industry and knowing you enough. You need the nitty gritties. You want the details. So I don't know if you see that machine. it's a balloon bot in the back. That's my R&D
Oh,
section. Yeah. uh, if I was somebody who did not understand this industry, I would never give you those details. I would never spill the beans. But however, um, let me tell you what happened when we first launched this product. We did all of the testing in house, and it was a perfect product to sell, to start installing at FECs. And then we started onboarding big operators like Sunstar. I don't want to go more into details, but very big names. Um, we
sure.
we realized it was not operator ready because we didn't do those kind of testings with operators before. However, the feedback that we got from them, it could go two ways. Listen, let's just stop making this product. It's a lot of additional costs that we might have to incur after this feedback came out. Two, like you said, my team got resilient. It's like, you know what? I think we can do it. I think it's great feedback and it's a great idea and it's a great looking product. And I think there is demand for it. So what I did is I went back to the drawing board. I listened to my operators. They're like, listen, it needs a door, like any claw machine, because kids could just get inside, stand up and steal the products or get themselves into harm's way. You don't want to do that. It's like, okay,
Sure.
this is possible. Let's do it. So we put a door, like an automatic door. It won't open until the product is vended out. Two, the software needed some updates for operators. They needed a lot of decentralized controls. And initially, if it was any other company who doesn't understand innovation, they'd be like, "Oh no, I don't want to give you my control. I want to keep things to myself. I want to have control A, control B, control C. So you keep coming back to me." And then you're like, "Okay, it makes sense." These people would need those access points that they can monitor, that they can control, and it's okay. So literally, right before this meeting, maybe an hour ago, we had all of those protocols decentralized. So after this call, I'm going to head back to my operator and say, whatever US is already done. So why don't you give me access to your machine so I could install the updated softwares so you could have peace of mind and your teams or your operators can do all of those tasks without having to reach out to me or my team. I hope it's a good example. I hope it's a legitimate
I think
example
that's
you
I
can
think
use.
that's a great example. I mean, I've had so many experiences, in my first tenure, I worked with over 800 parks.
Hmm.
After I left the family entertainment space, came on board to Gatemaster, and I was actually a client
Yeah.
at the family entertainment center of Gatemasters, and that's of Gatemaster, and that's how I transferred over to our development side. And what I love about what you said about resilience is there's so many times where you not only need the resiliency of your team because you're getting this big feedback, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's scary. Like I'll tell you, our developers are always like, "No, it can't happen." Always the first time. And then we sit with the idea and we think about it and we understand why they need it. We
Yeah.
understand what the goal is
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, we have a mission of, and I'm sure you share the sentiment of helping attractions massively succeed through innovative technology.
Absolutely.
Right? And the only way to do that is to
Hmm.
continue to innovate, but also recognizing that we need to find the
Hmm.
right partners who have a resilience mindset in working out what the future looks like. They have
Hmm.
to be bought in on that too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have to say, if you're telling stories about customers who are working with you in developing these needs that they have, you have
Hmm.
some really great attractions that you're working with because that is such a
Yeah,
gift.
100%. And that's why I said I love this industry because of this fact. Everybody is pushing everybody else to get to their next stage. And then, y- I was just thinking about this thing. But sometimes we replace or use the word simultaneously, entertainment industry and attractions industry. I think Both are extension of each. Sometimes
Agreed.
your entertainment side, which we might call, say, Netflix or Hulu or HBO, coming up with those cool, um, amazing concepts, TV shows. You have Warner Bros, Disney coming up with new characters. You have your Marvels, DCs, and then attraction industry becomes an extension of it, like the physical part of that journey for the customers, where they can go see, touch those characters. You know, I just love this idea that you watching Star Wars one day, and the next day you go to this theme park, and then you could see those people, not like those
Yes.
actors, but like see those people. Oh shit, this is so cool. I could interact with them. For a kid, that's not fantasy, that's reality. For an adult like you and me, we understand, like, okay, it's not the real thing, but it's just the overall experience puts a smile on your face.
Yeah.
And other times, the ideas go originate from the attractions industry and then end up in the entertainment industry. And end of the day, whether it's attraction or entertainment, we are in the business of experiences, customer experience. And if you could offer a unique, um, very curated experience to your guests, they will love you for that. Yes, you would have those bumps here and there. You'd have somebody give you a bad feedback, but most of the time, those people will come back to you one time, two times, three times, and then you, Sondra, know more than I, and you have experienced firsthand, just as I have. You at times have generations going to the same FEC, going to the same amusement park, theme park, or the same resort or the same casino, and saying, my grandpa was here. I used to come with my grandpa, or I used to come with my parents here. When I was 7 years old, they brought me to Disney, and now they have kids, and they're like, you know what? Now I'm bringing my kids to the same place. Now, where else do you see that?
It. I love what you're bringing up right there because speaking of generations. So I haven't, I don't know if I've shared this story on the show, but even for me, growing up in Southern California, Disneyland was my grandfather's favorite. I
Hmm.
mean, he loved the tiki room. He loved it so much, he named two of my aunts after the birds in the tiki room, which is ridiculous and awesome all at the same time. But this is what we're talking about with families, right? Like, we have this shared. My grandfather passed away when I was 8, but what I can still go to the tiki room and experience
Hmm.
even him. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is a real people conversation, right? So, even experience him. I love what you said about that because I think that that is what we're doing for people today.
Hmm.
This is why I love this industry. This is why I have these conversations with great guests like you. One, because you're reminding our colleagues in this industry of why we do what we do,
Yes.
and it is hard work that we do
Hmm.
at the end of the day.
Yes.
And innovating in this space is even hard work. There's a lot of resistance.
Hmm.
I come from a time when we were implementing point of sales to people who were using Casios. They
Um,
were,
yes.
machines. They weren't computers. So we had to teach them how to use computers. In the very beginning of my career, I spent a lot of time teaching people in water parks and amusement parks and even family entertainment centers how to use a computer because for some of them this was the first time that they had ever even experienced a computer,
Yes. And
right?
yep. And it's an off topic, but uh, let's talk about two other things. One, I just love the fact that you shared this beautiful, beautiful story of your grandfather you're on, and then I can almost feel it, like once you were there, how you could feel your grandpa being there, or you can relate to it. It's so unique to you. It's your personal experience that every time you visit that space, you're like, there's some sort of tangible thing in there that you can almost touch and feel. And that's what these FECs, parks, experiential places can do to you. And then
Yeah.
and now the other part that I wanted to talk about, it's to the like I said, it's off topic. It's two different things. Is for FECs who buy products like Getmasters or vending machines from Sweet Robo, sometimes they might not understand how much work goes into making those kind of products or services. For example, I know for a fact because I have that background, and then we spoke so many times about this. Getmaster did not just come out with the "Hey, I got a product and you should buy it." Getmaster then had to work with other parties who work at those FECs or parks. Like one day we were talking about it. You have to talk to the F&Bs. You have to figure out, okay, how do I implement your needs and turn them into something, a UI that you can use to make sure it's recorded, that transaction is recorded, or their experience is transferred from a button to a glass of beer or to a soda or to a food item. And how do I add it to that ticket so that value can be used at another place at the theme park? It's a lot of collaboration. That's my point. Like same thing for me. When I make this machine, I have to think about 20 different things. Would it work with Embed? Would it work with Nayax? Would it work with Kiosoft? Would it work with any personalized um, card reader company that this person or this FEC might be using? Would it work in a specific temperature setting? Would it work if the humidity level changes? Do I need to take care of any licensing before I sell the product? Does my ice cream mix needs to be FDA approved? Does my lollipop needs to be FDA approved? What else do I have to do for my customer so they don't have to go through those extra steps and just start selling and start putting smiles on the customers' faces? So, I really appreciate you and everybody in this industry doing that and going that extra mile for the customers. And I think that's what makes this industry beautiful, worth fighting for, worth working in, and you can't experience this anywhere else.
No, this is such a great industry.
100%, hundred
This
percent.
is such a great industry. I mean, I laugh all the time and say, once you're in it, you're in it. Because I can't even imagine myself being anywhere else.
Yeah.
And which well, I'm sad that we have to start wrapping up the show, but I do have a question for you because I know what my legacy probably is going to be with my kids because
Hmm.
I have drugged them to ride Guardians of the Galaxy probably more than any human on the planet. I think we've ridden it like 10 or 12 times. But it's like you said, the characters, right? When we talk about the characters, I'm a huge fan. I love that. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy universe and the stories that they tell and the characters that are there and the experience of the ride, the music, 100 different reasons why I love it.
Hmm.
And I know that if you ask my kids, they'll tell you like when I'm gone, it's going to be that ride, right? It's that's how much I love it.
Yes.
Um, but I'm curious, is there one of those for you? Is there a legacy experience that's your thing?
You know, it's I didn't think you would ask me this question. It's I love this question. I was at Universal Studios when I was a college student, and I, for the first time, experienced Harry Potter. Uh, I'm sitting on a seat. It's going through a bunch of different parts of the story, and I just could not fathom and put my head around that a screen and some wind and the music, how it's done, could make me feel I'm actually there.
Yeah.
So every time I think about going to any park or trying to think about an amusement ride, the first thing that comes to my mind is the same Harry Potter ride that Universal Studio put out there 10 years ago. And I'm like, wow, I want to do it again. If I'm ever at Universal Studios, I know this is the ride I want to experience again and again and again and share about it with my friends. One day, if I have kids, I want to have them try it because it's not the ride itself, it's the emotions that are attached to it, it's the feelings, it's the memories. I grew up watching Harry Potter. So I don't know how many times I have watched Harry Potter's. Maybe I watched it like this year again, like the entire series. And then every
Yeah.
time you learn something new, you find a different perspective. When I was a kid, I was thinking more about how cool is Harry Potter. I wish I could have a wand and I could do the same thing he could do. Then I'm like, okay, he's about resilience. He's about doing right by people. He's about doing right things. And then next time I watch it, he had weak moments, but then his friends, got him out of that phase. So friends are extremely important in your life. Good friends are extremely important throughout your life journey. And then every year now I'm thinking about, oh, how cool would those characters be when these kids played them, because they put their soul and heart into making Harry Potter what Harry Potter is. The
Yeah.
Hermione, the Harry Potter, um, it's just, for me it's like a nostalgia. And I
Yeah.
think I think this industry is has left a great legacy for future generations, and I feel both sad and happy at the same time what we have accomplished and what we could accomplish, um, 2 years ago or maybe 5 years from now.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens. And I think that it's just going to, as long as there are people like you and me in this space advocating, right?
Hmm.
And we know many of the operators are there, especially those that are family owned and operated, where it is just like their heart and life's mission to provide these experiences. And I've met so many operators like that over the years. And, I think if we're just continue to move this industry forward,
Hmm.
there's going to be more and more people who connect with those experiences.
Yep.
And and even, we had a show, I had a webinar last week just on innovating for accessibility, right?
Oh yes.
There's so many ways that we can improve still, and even invite and include more communities of
Oh
people. And
yes.
that's what we're all moving towards in
Yes.
this space with
I
regards to
you
collaboration and
you
ideas.
and I actually spoke about it once. I don't know if you remember. I know we're short on time, so I don't want to discuss it now. Maybe we hop on another call. We do another
Hey, I
another
always say,
talk about
if I can't get, we can't get it all out, we got to do it again.
it. Yes, and I would love to.
Well, I so appreciate you, and all the insights that you shared at what's happening at Sweet Robo. I love that idea. I love what you guys are doing with the robotic vending machines and how collaborative you are with the attractions that you serve, the family entertainment centers and attraction that you serve. And I agree. To me, they're just extensions of each other.
Mhm.
And I know there are some nuanced differences in those spaces, but
Mm.
they're very certainly adjacent industries. And I think that there is something that can be learned from both sides as well. So I appreciate your insights. I appreciate you just in our friendship. You're the first guest to get me to cry, which I, but if you know me, I'm a crier. So, I mean, that's how it goes. But
You and me were a hugger and a crier.
huggers and criers. Yep, this is. I should have known that's how this was going to go today. But I do appreciate you, and I appreciate your friendship and the ideas that you shared today and the insights that you had. And before we go, if someone in our audience is looking to connect with you or looking for a robotic vending machine, what is the best way to reach you? And where are you going to be at IAPA?
I'll be at Ayapa. Uh, just look out for Sweet Bubble booth. Come check us out. You would like what you would see. And in general, you could connect me via LinkedIn. You could also reach me at my, I don't mind sharing my cell phone number because I think it just connects you on a personal level with people. It's 917-703-3606, or shoot me an email. It's malik@sweetrobo.com.
Thank you so much for being so available to our industry. And we'll make sure to also post that in the recap of this video. So if you are looking to connect with Malik, and, just thank you again. I can't thank you enough. I think this was a lovely show. and I do want to do it again.
We will.
If you'll allow me,
I would
I'd love
love
to
to.
have you back.
Listen, I would love to. You never know if a sequel is going to be better than what originally got out there. But I know between you and I, it's always a candid discussion. It's always, very nurturing, nourishing, and it's just never a dull moment. So I love that about you, and I know you're a great person, an amazing human being, and it's always a pleasure meeting you, talking to you, and interacting with you.
The feeling is likewise, my friend. I so appreciate you.
You're so welcome. Well, thank
Well,
you so much for having me. It's
of
been an honor.
course. Thank you. I appreciate you being on the show and being so generous with your time. And again, if you're looking to reach out to today's guest, we'll make sure to post that in the recap. Thank you again, my friend. Well, that was amazing. You guys finally got me to cry on this show. I was waiting for that to happen at some point, because this is a conversation. This is a real conversation about what's happening in our industry and who we are as people. And I am so grateful. I made a post this week on LinkedIn. If you saw that, that talked about just the incredible journey that this show has put me on, and also the incredible people that I get to interact with, including my friends, and the incredible team that I have that is helping me put this all together. And I just want to give a big shout out to them today. I'd also like to share our upcoming guest. We have Colin Cheadle. Mr. Cheadle is going to be on the show Thursday, October 24th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. It'll be about a 45-minute show, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of things HR. So that's part of the business we still got to worry about if we are to move this business forward. I know that he's going to be sharing insights that will be super valuable to you. So I hope that you'll join us. And also, thank you again to today's guest. And if you would like to join me on this show, or you want to check out all of our shows on replay or on all of the major podcast network, visit livewithsondra.com, and you'll have all of those available to you. Thank you again, my friends, for joining me on today's show. It's a pleasure to serve this industry and to be a part of these conversations.